For a little help with that, let's bring in the Money Men, business and markets analyst and NewsMax contributor, Seth Denson, and America's accountant, Professor Dan Geltrude. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning, Allie.
All right, I want to start with the markets. A rough end to a bad week for the markets. The Dow dropping 450 points, while the S&P fell 84. The NASDAQ following suit with a big hit of 385 points. Seth, where do we go from here?
Boy, there's the million-dollar question. Quite literally the million-dollar question. Listen, I think that the markets are finally waking up to reality, the world that the rest of us have had to live in for a while. It's interesting, if you look at what the markets have done over the last week and really over the last month since we turned the calendar, the NASDAQ has given up almost all of its gains from last year. We're less than 2 points away from the NASDAQ giving it up. Obviously, it's heavy tech stocks. Those are the first to go when investors start to look at reality. They start to look at stocks that are overvalued, and I think that's just what's happening. My hope is that as we go through the remainder of 2022, investors start to look at the business fundamentals of those stocks, and perhaps we can get back on a normal track, not this crazy one where emotion is driving the market.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, the market has been frothy. I think everybody knows that from the standpoint of, hey, there's just perhaps too much overvaluing of these stocks. I think that's true. However, the reaction I think that we're seeing right now is quite frankly tied to inflation and thereby tied to these pending interest rate hikes. And I think that's what really has a lot of uncertainty in the minds of investors, because if there's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, there's a lot of numbers out there as to how much or how far the Fed will go here, really as investors concerned, and they're pulling back. And let's see where these interest rate hikes go, because there may be a flight to safety coming up.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend who does mortgages, and she said they're gearing up, for those interest rates to go up. All right, so let's talk about the Winter Olympics in China. It's drawing a lot of controversy, as many Americans, they're calling for CBS to boycott the games, while others are telling corporate sponsors to pull ads. Dan, will you think this is a smart move for these big companies?
Well, here's what these big companies are up against. China is a huge market. There's over 1 billion people there, which represents a lot of potential sales. So you have these large companies that are really going to be hesitant about doing any type of boycotting, because as we know, China does not take these things lightly. They get insulted pretty easily. And I think corporations are very in tune with that fact. Unlike, it seems, that they'll boycott a whole bunch of stuff in the United States, but when it comes to China, they're a heck of a lot more tentative.
Yeah, Seth, I want to get your take on this.
Yeah, listen, I think that this just shows that maybe these companies aren't as woke as we thought they just might be, right? This is all about the dollar. These are companies that recognize that I think these companies make these decisions specifically in the United States, right, pulling out of Georgia and things like that they did early on in the year. I think they do that in large part because they think that, well, we won't lose market share. It'll gain us some market share. Americans don't boycott. They talk about boycotting. Well, to Dan's point, China will. And so it just shows the hypocrisy of these companies who, on one hand, will say, no, we believe this. But if it comes to hitting their share price, well, they're certainly going to believe a different way.
Yeah, follow the money, right? Going from controversial Olympics to a controversial former Olympian, Alison Maloni, a former speed skater, now charged with stealing millions in COVID relief money. Seth, she's not the first. I mean, does the government have any authority to fix this? What's going on here?
Well, listen, this is just what happens when the government throws a program out there without really good guardrails. But fraud within government handouts is nothing new. I think I read a report yesterday. There's over 120 people that have been indicted on PPP fraud. There was another report last week that showed the vast majority of PPP money didn't actually get to payroll, which is what the payroll protection program was supposed to do. And a lot of businesses looked at this as a way of, hey, this, at worst case scenario, it's a 1% loan. So, yeah, the federal government needs to prosecute these, but going forward, they need to set better guardrails and understanding so that this stuff just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, I can't imagine. You're in accounting, right? I remember working with my accountant for the PPP. It was pretty easy, to get the money, and then it's a matter of like, are they really tracking if people are actually using it for payroll, because so many people got this.
The government, to be honest and to be fair, was in a tough spot because they had to move quickly. So This program was really based upon the honor system. And when you do something like that with billions of dollars, well, you're going to have fraud. I saw a report that said there could be up to $100 billion worth of fraud. That is a lot of money. So listen, those that are out there that committed fraud, and it can be proven, and listen, I believe in due process and the presumption of innocence for everyone. However, if these people are ultimately found guilty and doing something like this, you throw the book at them because, as I said, it was the honor system, and they betrayed the trust of the American people.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to move on to kind of an interesting story here. So Coca-Cola, hoping you're thirsty for its newly designed cans for its flavored and zero sugar products, as well as a new mocha flavored drink. Seth, Coca-Cola, they tried tinkering with the formula before. Remember that? It didn't work. So do you think this will make sense? Do you think you're going to try the new mocha Coke? That sounds, I don't know, it doesn't sound too good to me.
You know, I think what Coke is probably recognizing here is if they don't do something, if they don't bring something that gets us talking about it here on Wake Up America, maybe they're losing out on opportunity, and maybe that's it. This particular soda flavor, yeah, don't put it in my fridge. I'm fine. Let's leave it alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of the way that I approach things. But hey, for all these mochaccino latte people that now want some soda in that, well, God bless you. You got it.
All right, we got to leave it there. Dan, I'll get your take on the next hour on this. I'm interested to hear what you think. Seth and Dan, thank you so much. We'll be seeing you in the next hour.
Thanks, Al.